evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Screen Time Continuum. I am Nick, and I am joined, as always, with Keelan. Hey, Keelan, happy Sunday. How you doing?
Happy Sunday. I'm doing well. I have a lot to say.
I bet you do. I think we all have a lot to say, and here to say it with us as well is Mike. What is going on, man?
Man, just ready to get into it.
I don't know if any of us are very apprehensive or ready to get into this episode, but we'll see.
Right. How you doing today, Nick? How's it going?
Not too bad, guys. Not too bad. Happy Sunday to all you out there. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate all of you. Tonight, we're going to be talking about House of the Dragon episode 4. Just came out today. So this is fresh. Hope you guys have seen it. So this is going to be your fair spoiler warning. We will not discuss the episode until after this spoiler warning. So spoiler alerts, guys. We're going to be talking about episode 4 of House of the Dragon. If you have not seen it or do not want to be spoiled, turn back now and watch the replay. It'll be on our page at Screen Time Continuum. You can always check it out there. If you don't mind being spoiled, if you've seen it, join us for this discussion, and we'll just jump right into it. You have been warned. All right, guys. First impressions. Let's just get into this. Yeah, let's do this. All right, Keelan. Go ahead.
My first impressions, I'm allergic to this. I am tired of this. My first impressions, I'm not sure where this story is going anymore. It's starting to read something like a memoir rather than a novel. I'm just not quite following. I can't say I'm not following. I am following. I know everything that's going on, all the ins and outs of it. However, no pun intended. However, I'm just not quite sure. After the last episode, I feel like I might have just given them a little too much rope, and they almost hung themselves this episode, in my opinion. So, I'm gonna kind of just leave it there. Visually, it was still great, or it was nice. It wasn't as terrible this episode visually, but outside of that, just gonna leave it there.
Fair enough. Yeah. We'll get into the details about how Keelan feels about this episode in just a moment. We're going to get Mike's first impressions first. Mike.
Stuff happened that was tricky to discuss.
Tricky to discuss, yes.
Yeah.
It sounds like you were doing a haiku for a second. Things happened that were
right. I mean, it's not what I was expecting to happen for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the focus was so on this is, I want to say the succession, but not that's not really what it is. But you know that it was about her blossoming, I guess, or growing as a woman. I don't know. And yeah, I'm just trying to find the right words to say. I thought it was disgusting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, I could definitely understand where you're coming from on that part. That's for sure. I think I will agree with you guys. I'm not a very big fan of what's going on in this series, to be honest. This episode almost made me reconsider watching the rest of the series because, and you know, look, let me just get this out there. I'm not a prude. I'm not, you know, like some granny clutching my pearls and, you know, like, will somebody think of the children? Well, never mind. Clearly, they've already been doing that.
Wow.
What I will say is that, like, I'm just not into this. I'm not into this. What this episode was about. I'm not into the story. We were watching it, and I kept saying, I am so sick and tired of watching the inside of a castle. I want to see the rest of the freaking Westeros, man. Like, why aren't we expanding?
Where's the wall? Let's see the wall.
Man, let's see anything. If I could just get one thing outside of the castle for a little while, maybe one storyline that we're going to do. Like, I'm just so tired of this castle.
You don't think we're in Dragonstone long enough?
we were in Dragonstone, and then we were in the stepstones for like 15 minutes. But
episode, right? Yeah.
But it's really suffering from claustrophobia at this point. I do not like that we don't have any external storylines. It's just about these 4 or 5 people. And to be honest, I really don't care about these people very much.
Not at all, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I mean, I'm kind of wondering what's gonna happen with the sea snake dude, because I'm just wondering if he gonna accept her as a bride for his son, or if he gonna turn his back on him and just go to the free folk. I'm just curious about it. Right.
With you saying that, if I'm him, I marry that son off over there, and I marry my other son off over there, because I think he has a younger son.
You know what I'm saying? I don't remember, but probably he might.
I believe he does.
I also found it really jarring. I think the introductory of this episode is like Rhaenyra going up to her father and her father being mean to her. And just before that, we saw the recap of him saying, "I'm not going to replace you. You're not going to be replaced."
Yeah,
and then he says, "I should."
Right. I think that was to remind us of their discourse at the end of the last episode. Although they had that discussion, there was very clearly still a father-daughter dispute going on there. There was no real agreement. He just said what he said, and that was it.
Yeah, I can understand that he's frustrated because she came back from the tour or whatever too early, and obviously without any suitor. So
tired of her shit.
Yeah, I can imagine. I would be too. But yeah, so okay, guys, let's just get into what the crux of this story is. I'll give a short overview, and then you guys can let me know if I missed anything.
Well,
the
first part that let me know what this entire episode was going to be about, they opened with Rhaenyra playing with her necklace. You can take it from there.
Right. Yeah, of course. So Rhaenyra is returning back to King's Landing from a tour where she was supposed to find suitors. I think this is about 4 to 6 months after the last episode.
Yeah. I think short of a year.
Roughly that. And so she returns to King's Landing, and obviously without a suitor, so she's not made her mind up about who she wants to be with. Damon returns to King's Landing after his victory in the Stepstones, presents the king the crown that he was wearing, and basically, gives some capitulation to his brother so that his brother isn't all angry at him. And then most of this episode is Rhaenyra and Damon, and then Rhaenyra and other people sort of quietly sitting together. And then we get a scene that is probably going to be the sort of crux of this series. I think we just saw like the thing. Like if Bran getting pushed out of a window in episode 1 of Game of Thrones was the thing that started it, I think that what we're seeing right now is like the thing that's going to start the whole story. Yeah, so I think that I think it's that's where we're seeing it, but I don't know. Okay, I'm done blabbing.
If we're being honest though, didn't they kind of tease that the first few episodes anyway, that there was some kind of a thing between them two?
Yeah, absolutely they did.
And it was already kind of weird, and then now you seeing it, and it's like, man.
Yeah, that's them taking the Targaryen lore to heart. And I think it's an unfortunate thing that they think they have to continue to do. But
they don't.
Right. But and I think what they did in this episode by alluding to getting towards and non-completion was that, we know deep down that this isn't okay. Like, then stop putting it on the screen, G.
And this is why also, sorry, just 1 second, you don't watch the after commentary, because I watched the after commentary. Did you?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Did you hear what they said about what that scene is about?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So, guys, I'm going to tiptoe around this statement from the director themselves. I am not making this statement out of my own mind. This is from the director. You can go watch it at the end of the episode. Literally. I got to tell this to our audience so that they don't think I'm just like being flippant about this whole topic. from the director's idea was that Damon took Rhaenyra to that place in order to force himself on her. But since she liked it, he was not able to perform, as it were, because his whole thing was that he was going to force Rhaenyra in that situation.
That's
according to the director.
That's what's said in the after credits for sure.
Yeah, that's not okay.
No, of course not.
And I think that's where the drop of her father or his brother when he says to him, like, your eye is on the throne, it's not on her. And I think that's where he's correct, but I don't think he understands.
He's right for the wrong reason.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no, he still wants to take her with him. It's not really about you, buddy.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really about him and how they all foresee the legacy versus how you foresee the prophecy. Which aren't the same things.
Again, I have to ask, George R.R. Martin, are you sure that there was this much type of activity going on? Because at this point, I feel like this is just a coloring of his own, desire.
Fantasies.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, man. It gets to a point of pathology almost where I feel like when I'm watching it, I'm watching somebody's like icky thoughts. I don't know.
Fantasy. That concept of when you find out a director likes feet, all of a sudden you realize how many feet are in their movies.
Right.
Oh yeah, I pointed that one out.
Yeah, that's the significance of it. Yeah, I was like, wait, when you told me, I was like, oh snap! I've watched that
Right.
man like 30 times. You're absolutely right.
We have a comment here from Sheba Wheeler here. So thankful you're having this discussion. I need to process. Yeah, I don't blame you, honestly. I don't
At
even.
all.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to process because you know what? And again, I'm going to be a boomer here, and again, I'm not a pearl clutcher. I just don't. I don't like the story. If this is what the story is about,
What's the story?
I'm assuming it's about the. So if I can gather, because this does seem to be the cross point, right? It seems like the entirety of the succession and whether Rhaenyra might be pregnant now and what the implications of that are going to be the thing that thrusts this out into the, into the rest of the story. And I don't know, man. I don't know if I like it. I don't know. I really don't.
It doesn't seem so. Two things I'm catching on to. The original Game of Thrones storyline, although it held a lot of the same things that made us question our need to continue to watch. Although it had some of those same things, the storyline was so interesting, and the follow-ups and the lack of I'd honestly say the lack of grotesque when it came to going too far. Like they went very far. Like I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some things where they probably went too far. But the storyline being what it was, the ups and downs, the swings, the deaths, the everything, the disembowelments of people, all of those things would lead you to like, okay, well, if I can get 5-10 episodes of this in the 10 episodes we're going to get, and we're only going to get one episode of that, maybe I can make it through this.
Yeah.
Right
yeah,
now,
and I think that's right. Yeah, go ahead.
right. And right now, two things are happening. We are only going to get 10 episodes. We know that. We don't know if we're getting another season yet.
Yeah,
okay, sorry. So I was not aware of that. And adding on to that, every single episode so far, you've had some hint, nudge, drying of the water during the heat, which is, basically like you're revealing everything that's there is what I'm saying. That's really what I'm getting at. Like there is nothing hidden. And because there's nothing hidden, moments like what occurred in this particular episode, and there's a few other things I want to mention as well that I think were pivotal, but just standard Game of Thrones type things that are being thrown in, but they're not exactly being fleshed out.
Yeah, I think that you made a good point about because there are shocking moments in Game of Thrones. We all know we can probably think of the most shocking moments of Game of Thrones, but they all serve to push the story ahead. And I think that I think that that's where it kind of comes from, where it's like Keelan was saying, is that you don't have a shocking moment every episode, and this hasn't done that yet, so I'm not saying that it is, but for some reason the shockingness of what's going on right now feels more pedantic to me than what Game of Thrones did, which was like, whoa, like this feels like ew.
Right.
I don't know, like seriously, like that's just my reaction. I'm just like, I'm not going like, oh my god, I'm going like, oh, ew. Like, yeah.
I also have to say, as a adult in general, I know something is not doing well with the entertainment value, the entertainment quality, when you have naked people on the screen, and I have no interest.
Right.
Real.
That's every time they go into one of the pleasure houses. I'm just like, why?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, like,
it's not even pushing the story. It's like, it's just an excuse to have people naked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was more. I'm going to say this.
Classily done anymore.
Oh, it's not, dude. There were. If you wanted to brighten up your TV, you would have seen people's. Yes, you would have seen anatomies that you wouldn't ever see in a normal TV show.
I'm fine with seeing the non-savories naked. That's not the problem for me.
I'm talking about the good old brown eye.
Oh, another
yeah. That happened again.
Mr. Stinky.
The one that stink, not the one that wink.
So another one of those moments, just because I'm sure we're gonna have to round back to it through the story. Another one of those moments for me that stood out, one of those glimpse moments where you see something happen and almost it reminds me of when you go back to episode 1, I think it was, maybe 2, but no, it was episode 1, where Sir Christensen is chosen by Rhaenyra and then basically placed at her guard to be her protector. You already knew what was going to happen eventually.
Well, and sworn a vow of chastity.
Oh, right. And sworn a vow of chastity. I forgot about that part.
Oh, wow.
But hey, you know what? Guess what? It can't be known that she did it anyway, so it can't be known that he broke his vow, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, I would argue she made him break his vow.
First,
yeah, she did pull a knife on
order
him.
of the princess.
Seen it.
Well,
seen her pull a knife on it.
And I'm just saying. No, look, this is why I have such weird feelings about all of this, because in the succession of what happens, she is taken by her uncle to be a victim of a heinous act, gets excited by this idea, then it doesn't happen. Then she goes to her sworn Kingsguard that is sworn to chastity and then makes him have relations with her.
Yeah, her morals have been compromised.
Do we remember how old she is at this point?
19.
We sure about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. She looks the same as when she was 14, so I don't know.
And in real life, apparently, she's 22. Ooh.
Right.
Okay. You know what? I wasn't going to ask that part because I was a little disturbed by the whole thing because she looked like a 12-year-old boy. So I was confused.
Is it the
But
overbite?
I didn't want it. Huh?
Is it the overbite?
No, I don't know what it is. I'm going to say that. I don't know what it is.
Right.
Is that overbite?
But I thought it was weird. So the whole episode made me uncomfortable because she looked like that.
Yeah, and I think
the whole
that's
episode.
Right. And look, it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable, but it's being edgy, and George R.R. Martin likes to put these things in his stories, but I don't know. I'm just not interested in it. Right. That was one of the weakest parts of Game of Thrones, and to be honest, everybody hated Jaime and Cersei because of what they were doing,
and it only gets anywhere because of the shock factor.
Right, exactly. Thank you. Yeah,
and it was nasty because they were so in your face about it. It's not like they would tiptoe around it.
With
like an
Cersei.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say with Jaime and Cersei, it was clearly a swinging of the dick. How much power do I have? And Cersei's dick specifically.
I
and
think
this
that that's what it is, though, because like with Game of Thrones, yeah, you would have one of those weird moments, but then you had like 5 other characters to go watch what they were doing, and
Right.
normally it wasn't one of those weird things.
Right.
Here, it just seems like, 'cause since everybody's all interconnected with each other, they're all acting with each other, they all feel complicit in this weirdness. I don't that like it's made me not like any of them. I want them all to die, and
You're
thankfully
nasty.
they're gonna die. So
Who's
Right.
always somebody got to poison them quick. Where's the next big dinner?
right.
But so the moment that I was gonna bring up was when the young, what's his name? Geez, his name reminds me of things from Wiccan lore, and I cannot think of it right now. But the young man who killed,
Samael,
no, not Samael,
Samhain.
you goofy. The young man who ended up killing the other guy as she was leaving, Blackwood.
Oh,
Blackwood.
yeah.
The young man Blackwood ends up killing the heckler from the sidelines, Craven. I thought that was pivotal, especially because when she looked back, I was like, it reminded me immediately of the Sir Christensen moment when she called him. And I'm thinking what's going to end up happening is later down the line, if she gets married to anyone else, she's going to end up not with them somehow. They're going to die or whatever. She's going to end up with this kid, or they're going to end up enemies because he's going to remember when she basically denied him and made fun of him. One of the two.
But
And he's going to grow to be a good warrior.
she didn't really make fun of him though. She just was like, "This is a kid."
Nah, but she has full control over the room, and she's laughing with everybody else. Fuck her, if I'm him.
Okay, you win that.
Yeah, she was very flippant about the fact that somebody just died in court too. I said that. I was like, okay, y'all are just killing people in court now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Is this what's happening? Just like you guys can have duels and you guys can kill each other whenever the hell you want. There's no
I thought
law.
you couldn't pull arms in front of royalty.
You can't. You're not supposed to.
That's the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, but hey, it's Game of Thrones. I mean, it's Hot D.
Hot D. Yeah.
I don't want any.
I don't think at this point most of us do.
This is a fact. I do want to say the discussion that Damon and Rhaenyra had, that discussion was pivotal and would have been much more beneficial had it not went to the gallows, or what do they call it, the brothel, the sex dungeons.
Pleasure house.
Yeah, because having that the discussion she had with Alicent and then the discussion she had with him really helped mold her character not visually, excuse me, ideally, because now you understand her concepts a little better. She's afraid of having a child, so her version of wanting to be married and all of that, she doesn't want to give birth because she's afraid. That's what killed her mother. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Why the hell we have to wait till episode 4 for that to make sense? I don't know. But that also shows us that there's still a plausibility. I don't know about a real possibility because of duty, but plausibility that she and Alicent not only are still friends, but they're closer than ever, but they don't have the time to really delve into that, at least based on the stories we see. And from that's where I look at it as, eventually it's just going to come down to they're going to be the ones in charge, and I'm not exactly sure to what level. Like, will Rhaenyra even still be on the Targaryen side? I don't know. But I'm thinking Alicent will become more pivotal to the Targaryens than Rhaenyra by the end of this.
Well, I mean, she's got the son.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where the schism is, right? That's where you get the civil war. That's where you get the fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all set, like the whole thing is set for sure. But yeah.
My bad. I just realized I did not finish that full thought. The full thought was her having that discussion showed that relationship between her and Alicent. However, her being able to open up to Damon and him giving her real life, because I feel like he gave her real feedback, and had he not turned into a fucking predator, then that information could have definitely been more beneficial to the long term of the storyline. Her seemingly having a real ally who's out in the world and has real experiences.
Right. Well, she values real world experience because you know that based on her knight she chose because he had real war experience.
Exactly.
So she is kind of practical in that sense, but
Mm-hmm.
this business keeps looping back in my head, and it's like I can't get past that part.
Understandable.
I just want it to go away. I can't unsee it.
Mm-hmm. I also want to say, I thought that the showing her of the secret rooms, the secret tunnels, that was pretty dope. That
You
they
know,
came about a
I,
different way
I did notice something about that. When she went in there, I was like, how does the secret room have torches already lit?
because they were lit for her.
Because Damon
Come
was
on.
at the bottom of the tunnel, apparently, waiting for her.
Wouldn't you find that suspicious?
Yeah,
She
except for the
she
fact
assumed
that
it was meant for her to
she
follow.
wants to go with him. She obviously likes him. She's obviously
Right.
into him.
It's
And
weird. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Don't sing the song.
yeah. I don't know. There's just no characters for me that I care about. I don't like any of these. Like, can we kill Viserys off already? I'm done with him. I'm
Please.
done with him,
I
man.
thought he was dying
Good
this episode, Nick.
God.
I 1,000% thought he was dead this episode. And
How
I
many
really thought Otto Hightower was about to take his ass out this time. I thought Otto was like, you know what? Time for a new king.
how many times do you cut yourself on that stupid throne before just not sitting there anymore? Oh my
Speaking
God.
of which,
The
who let this?
tetanus.
Isn't it illegal to practice necrophilia? Because Alicent should definitely be held in court.
It didn't look like Alicent was enjoying any bit of that, what
Well,
was
I'm sure,
happening.
but she
So,
still is having performing necrophilia with that.
Right. That zombie.
yeah, I don't know,
Listen,
man.
and as we said before, that is for sure not grayscale, but maybe maybe he is the birthplace of grayscale. I don't know.
Man, he looks terrible.
It looks nasty.
You
And
know,
those 2 fingers are gone.
and this is another weird meta sort of idea that I'm not really liking. It's the juxtaposition between those two scenes, right? So you have the scene with Rhaenyra and Damon against the scene with
Right.
Alicent and the king. And what the TV show is telling you is that sex for duty is awful, but sex for passion is good. But the people who are having sex with passion are related to each other.
Right.
So it's, oh God, man. Oh, no,
Okay.
no. I don't know what to do with all of that. I don't.
So basically she goes back, she lures Sir Christensen, because we get it. She goes back, she lures Sir Christensen. However, the lady that Damon's with when he wakes up, that's his concubine that I
His
guess he's
sidekick.
also cast away. So she's pissed at him now. I'm sorry. Way too reminiscent of Tyrion's.
Littlefinger.
Well, what you mean,
Or-
man? You don't like her Jamaican accents?
I don't care about her accent, even though no, I don't.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's
She's
what it
got
sounds
like a
like.
French
Be a Caribbean
patois,
accent.
like, yeah, Jamaican thing going on.
I didn't catch it until this episode, and I was like confused on what was going on.
Right.
But I don't like that it feels like the exact same story. The only difference is she's Littlefinger. She's
Yes.
Littlefinger and the whore in the same body.
Yeah. That's basically what it is. And she's going to be more involved in the future. I think that the show kind of directly tells you she's responsible for telling Otto about Rhaenyra and Damon.
Yeah, because she's the white
yeah.
worm. Except they haven't exactly told us she's the white worm.
Right.
But we know she's the white worm because the kid comes back and drops the money in her hand because that's the payment for the information.
Mhm.
Right.
As Damon's laying in her den, I guess. Yeah. So I guess that actually that makes her Littlefinger, that makes her the eunuch, and and the whore all in one person.
Can we send at least one character on a vacation so we can see something other than King's Landing? Just send them somewhere, anywhere, please.
You know what? I just want Westeros and the Southlands to be the same place.
Yeah, I mean, like it would be nice to see the Vale. Damon's supposed to go back to the Vale, so maybe we'll see that.
Did you say the Southlands?
Yes, I was waiting for
Dorne.
that.
Dorne is the Southlands.
Dorne is the Southlands, but it's the connection there for me that just made that work.
Oh,
but and only because of it's fresh because of that one. Literally, we just did that. But no,
I think
absolutely. To the fairness, yes, those Southlands. When I thought of it, I realized the connection. Um, Dorne, Bravos, was it the Iron Isles? Where are all these places?
Well, I
Yeah.
was thinking the sea snake is where the Iron Islands is. Maybe that's where they're coming from. But
Well, no, what they were. Well, maybe because they were supposed to be going somewhere else and then heading from there. So perhaps.
because I mean they're the ocean people, so I mean I just made that connection without any direct evidence.
Mhm.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, they'd be outside. They're in somewhere in the narrow sea, so between Essos and Westeros. So it would just be nice to see something that's not King's Landing. I'm getting real tired of King's Landing. There's only so much like quiet. It's like there were moments of pause that you could park a truck between. It was just so many times where characters just didn't say anything for a very long time. We're just supposed to sit in this moment, like. I don't know.
And unfortunately, but kind of fortunately, actually, but unfortunately, because of the quietness and the lack of progression, those were when I feel like we got some of the more better visual shots of this season. And it wasn't like CG stuff. It was really like, oh, you got like 60 people packed into a corridor, but that's a really nice shot that you still somehow pulled off. Those kind of things.
Right.
Adding with that though, once we get past all of the kerfuffle of information passing back and forth, Alicent hears what's going on, and then she has the cojones to confront Rhaenyra. Like,
Where'd that come from?
Well,
yeah,
she's the queen. She could do whatever the hell she wants, and she's her friend. Like, I was more bugged about the fact that like now Rhaenyra is just gonna be like, oh, it never happened.
yeah, I expected that.
I mean, I
Yeah,
kind of expect that too, but then it's like, so can we have one likable character? Can anybody be
No,
pleasant? Can
no.
any no? Then
no.
I can't hold on to any of these people. I have like no desire to care about any of them.
I went
Rhaenyra
into
just
this
lying
whole.
to Alicent like
I
that.
went into this
Yeah,
show with no concept of holding on to anyone.
I went into this show knowing that we would not get a Ned Stark.
Yeah. I mean, just somebody to care
Man,
about, would be nice.
I
man.
mean, listen, no, I'm not going. I'm not going to talk too deep about Game of Thrones. I'm going to focus here.
Yeah,
Um, I was about to do it. I was, but
I was about to do it too.
it's the lack of accountability on all parties in this. Period. And I don't mean, what do they call it? Victim blaming and all of that. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm simply saying is, at no point, even at the very beginning, when Damon first returns, you see Otto watching Damon, watching Rhaenyra, watching Damon, and he has that look like, what the hell am I watching? Like, something don't seem right here, but it don't come about. That's when you, as the hand, say something and you pull rank, but you waited, and because you waited, you're implicit.
Yep.
Yeah, but then he wanted to also, benefit off of the spy giving him the information,
Correct.
which just
Correct.
blew up in his. Is now
Well, and that
Viserys wants to have a backbone for some reason.
right.
Right.
Well, and that's the next problem for me is the trickle of everything. It's like, oh, now you want to be a dad? Like, bruh. So basically, when they said she was in, and if you pay attention to the story, when they said she was in a brothel, so what? My daughter can't have leavings of her own. Oh, well, she's gallivanting as a whore. Who are you to stalk my daughter with her uncle?
Man.
Like, bruh, you didn't care. You didn't care
Nah.
about her dignity, her value, her what do they call it? Her being a maiden still. That was not of concern to her father. It wasn't until he felt he had been slighted by apparently his only real enemy in all of damn history.
Yeah, and this is why I don't care about Viserys either, because like I think the show wanted us to feel sympathetic for him for a minute, but now he's just like he's doing the same thing to Alicent that he did to his wife,
Mhm.
which was continuously get her pregnant over and over and over again, even though he's produced his heirs. He has
Mhm.
2 kids now, and now he's trying to get her pregnant again.
Yeah.
And he has Rhaenyra. So he has 3 kids, and now he's trying to get her pregnant again. It's just like, dude.
What else shall a king do?
Right, I guess, but
I mean,
good Lord.
Stowing his royal oaths, I guess.
I'm about to say, and apparently it's not by his of his own volition, because he has to wait until late at night. So after the potions kicked in.
Got to make sure everybody tipsy.
Man, you got to get them blue potions.
Right.
If you don't get them little blue vials, there ain't gonna be nothing going on. You can go ahead and put that bed in exile. So once the confrontation happens, okay, so she denies anything. Whereas Damon, bruh, the fuck, my guy,
like, yeah, let me have her. Like what?
My guy
what?
Doubled down, then he tripled down, then I would have cut his throat. I just would have. And when Viserys whipped out the dagger, I was like, oh, it's about to get real. Like now we get some real, Game of Thrones type stuff. We killing family off of disrespect. Nope.
No, of course not.
Medieval times for what?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's so funny because it's like, I guess what we're supposed to believe is that Damon doesn't care whether Viserys believes it or not. He just wants to destroy Viserys. Like he just wants to get back at him. I still, and maybe you guys can correct me, educate me if I'm wrong on this. Why does Damon hate Viserys so much?
Because he took a berry out of his hand when they were 4 and 7. And he never apologized.
You know what? And I was wondering the same thing, to be fair. And the only thing I could think of, honestly, was he's the king and he's not going to become the heir.
Yeah, that's all.
But,
I think that's really all it comes down to.
But that doesn't work either, really, because he was acting like a butthole when he could have been the heir. All he had to do was keep cooperating.
Right. Exactly.
I think he wasn't as angry, where he would really become a adversary until Corlys slapped that battery in his back a little bit, like, we are the lost brothers of the kings of the blah 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 blah, and we run the wars and have the power and the blah 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 blah. And you don't see him running up against his brother.
My favorite part was the blah 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 blah
blah blah blah blah, because it was just honestly, in hindsight, you think about everything Corlys was saying to Viserys, he was mad that he wasn't getting his way, so he had to go and incite Viserys. Excuse me, he had to go and incite Damon, who had just went to Dragonstone and said, "Screw it, I'm gonna stay here with my wife, probably pop a couple babies in her, whatever the hell." But when this dude come along, now it's, I guess let me assemble my army and go kill some folk.
Yeah, I guess. I just don't care.
Right. Yeah.
I just don't care. I don't like Damon anymore. I think he's he's just not likable.
He's one Chris Hansen drink away of sweet tea.
Right.
So what are you doing here? Do you know?
What are his ends? I have no idea what his ends are. Just to make his brother's life miserable. He seems to have no aspiration for the throne, really. He doesn't seem to want anything except to just make his brother suffer. That's it.
That's all it seems like.
Yeah,
it does seem like that is the key. And you know what? If that's what floats his boat, I guess so. But to what ends?
Right. That's
just
my question.
Like a spoiled brat, and he's just throwing a tantrum. Is that what we're basically saying?
It seems that way.
It feels that way. Yeah, and he tried to force his niece just to get back at his brother.
Yeah,
that's years.
But he's also not. And this is why I think somebody has to be promoting this in his mind somehow, because this is clearly not who he is. If this was who he was, this would have been coming about way earlier, and it would be a lot more volatile. And I'm not saying in the regards to what happened in the episode. I just mean,
in the book it's very implied that it was happening, and Rhaenyra wasn't 19 when it was happening. It was happening earlier.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
maybe that's why we got all those implications previous to this particular episode
Yeah.
perhaps.
to allude to something. So
And I think it's funny too, because like I think that's totally created by the showrunners, what we just saw, because in the book, I think her relations are a lot more vague and sort of not known. Like it's not known if her and Kristen Cole got together. It's not known if she may have had a different lover or if Damon was her lover. So it seems like an odd thing to sort of decide to dive into with no prompting, because it's certainly, I don't think it's in the book. I don't think it's in Fire and Blood. I'm pretty sure that that's not what
Thing in there.
Yeah, maybe it is. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I've never read the books, to be honest.
Me neither. But so Damon gets banished after he asks for Rhaenyra's hand in marriage. And during that request, he goes on to mention how Aegon the Conqueror had multiple wives. And his brother let him know he's no conqueror, but he does let him leave with his life and tells him to return to his lawful wife in Dragonstone.
In the Vale.
In the Vale, sorry, in the Vale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can't say that would be me, sir.
He got off easy.
Understand.
Right.
Well, and this is what I don't understand. You went through all of that. You drew down on him, everything, just to get out of here. You disgust me. But then we have to remember him stabbing the stag? Would he have had the strength to kill
Probably
Damon?
not.
I'm sure the moment he draws blood, Damon's killing him off of instinct.
Yeah. I would say that he probably couldn't handle a wrestling match at this point of his life. So
even with a drunk and hungover Damon.
Right. Yeah.
Or Allison.
Right. Yeah, this is true. I'm sure she could have pushed him off. So what I do love though is when he and Rhaenyra talk, he first tries to ease her in. The song of fire and ice is embedded on this blade, essentially. Which I thought that was actually kind of cool.
It's cool until you keep rearranging the molecular structure of your steel, and it becomes as brittle as a cookie. Because if you keep heating your steel like that over and over again, it just falls apart.
Right, so, and I assume that they would typically use dragon fire to.
It's Valerian steel, so it's supposed to be magical. So I guess that's probably why you can heat it up so many times. So, don't tell anybody.
What?
There used to be magic in this show.
You mean back in the way back times?
Yeah. Silly.
And what's funny, and I think we've said this before, is that this would be considered a time where there was probably more magic because the dragons haven't died off yet.
Mm-hmm. They definitely should be more magic than the Nightwalkers, but that's another conversation.
There should be something.
So she is then told that she must marry Laenor Valerian, her cousin. Not really. I'm not sure that makes it better.
No,
at least it's more age appropriate.
That's true. They're
fair.
Yeah, a little bit
fair.
Closer.
If we're looking for a silver lining, there it is.
I mean, is there silver linings really in any of this?
No. Well, actually, there was one silver lining. He listened to Rhaenyra. He actually listened to her when she's like, you know what? I do what you say. I understand. I messed up. I let somebody lead me astray and I got curious. Cool. I messed up. But you got to listen. Hear me out. You got to hear me out. Listen, why would this dude be having somebody follow me? What? You can't trust this dude. You cannot trust what he's doing. I don't care. Otto Hightower's out. Like you gotta take care of him. And at minimum, he at least believes her, confronts Otto, and relieves him of his duties as the hand, which he looked like a little kid that's on the play set when you go and take the square from him because they keep trying to put it into the circle and it don't fit. Listen.
Yeah, he got caught a little bit. Although for the ready get like I think one of you guys said he was right for the wrong reasons though.
Right. Yeah, he was correct for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
For me, it was so anticlimactic. I was just like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
No, it was weak. It was
super weak.
Smack him in the mouth if you really disrespect it.
Yeah, or make the deception and subversion more like have more stakes. Again, now like the whole thing is like is this story cruxing on the sexual relationships of a princess? Like is that where this story is going to really just focus on, basically, is like whether Rhaenyra has a kid from one person or another?
Yeah,
Because
or whether
she's
that other
pregnant.
right, or whether that other princess has legs or fins.
What?
Little Mermaid.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. But then she gets this. She gets moon tea from the Maesters,
So should she
allegedly.
drink it?
Allegedly from the king, but I don't know. Maybe it's
I
not from
wouldn't
the
trust
king.
it. I think it's from Otto Hightower.
Maybe.
I mean, if she drinks it, it implies something, and if she don't drink it, it implies another thing.
Right.
And one way or another, if she drinks it, she's dead.
Drinking it would be an admission. And
Right.
if she doesn't drink it, then she's trapped in a situation where she might have to have a
be pregnant.
Yeah.
Right.
Which definitely sounds like an Otto thing to do. Like give her the ability to either,
well, because
dig her own grave.
Her psyche, because whether or not anything does come of her actions, the reality is it could. So now you have something to think about. So let's find out if something happened or not.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's where the Sir Christensen thing is going to come up. She's going to have to out it that happened if this goes to that. If they really if they want to press and think her and her if they want to press that and think that happened and something comes of it, then she's going to have to out that she ordered Sir Christensen by order of the princess to lay with her and deflower her maidenism. I think that's the appropriate way to say that.
Yeah. Well, at least we didn't get an examination like there was in a book. So
I would have. That's what I kind of thought might happen. I was like, man, is this going to be another one of those?
I know. I'm glad that
Some
that
old,
didn't happen.
weird dude, grubbing up on her.
Huh? Yeah, like to confirm that she's still a maiden.
Yeah, a hymen check.
Not now. That's what Nick understood. What I was
saying.
Can
I say that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean you can. That's a medical term. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I think in the book they actually do that to Rhaenyra. So
that would have made sense because to be honest, that's what I was really thinking was going to happen.
I did.
Was they going to do like a hymen check, and I was like, oh, she's going to be screwed.
Yeah,
that's time appropriate.
Again,
she rides dragons and horses, so I don't think they would need to check.
Thanks, HBO for not putting us through that, but I won't thank you too much yet because it still could happen.
Right,
she could still have to have that taken down.
And it was weird looking at her trying to be sexy because I'm looking at her and I'm looking. I feel like I'm looking at a 12-year-old boy. Well,
also it's just like the story is progressing, but she was only 14, 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, but she don't look different.
No, she doesn't look any different.
And it's weird. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I apologize. I see so much of this, and on different shows they doing this kind of thing, and it's just it's distasteful for me.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, trust me, I do too. It just doesn't feel necessary. Just like all the nudity stuff. I don't need it, man. I don't need it.
In my defense, I am the old man of the group.
That's okay. I mean, we're all getting a little bit more curmudgeon-y in our old age, but I don't want it. I don't want it. Thanks.
I programmed NPR into my radios. No, I'm joking.
Oh no.
Are you turning into your father? You seen those commercials? It's pretty funny.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, do we have anything else?
No, that is literally the end. We don't know if she decides to hallucinate or not, but she has some tea that is calling her name and or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's really where it ended. And again, for me, I could say the imagery on this episode was actually better, but I don't feel like we moved forward any. We're almost in the same day, if I'm being honest. Like if we jump forward too far, for the next episode, I'm confused.
Right.
Absolutely confused. We're gonna have to literally be in the next day, and then I guess jump forward mid-episode or something. But they're gonna have to tell us what happens tomorrow.
Nah, it's gonna be 12 years later, and it's gonna be like, remember that
I think
time?
we're gonna jump about 4 years right now, 4 or 5 years.
Remember that time you was being weird?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Well, I guess what this is episode 4, so we got 6 more episodes to go. I guess we'll see where this is going.
4 of 10.
I love the excitement.
It's not doing it for me, man. It's really not.
I was much more excited last episode. Go back and look at how I was at the end of last episode versus how I began this episode.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure what it's missing, but for me, it's just missing something that's not catching. And maybe it's perhaps having broken up stories that are sort of disparate and not connected to each other, but then maybe connect in like an overarching way. This is just way too claustrophobic for me. Everything is the same 5 people, and I'm tired of these people. Please introduce some new people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's the same person. I thought the name was gonna change. Damn it! And it was messed up. Is we know they get older, so it's gonna be the same people with new faces.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, oh, here's a shot of Rhaenyra talking to Alicent, then Rhaenyra talking to Damon, then Rhaenyra talking to Viserys, then Viserys talking to Otto, then Otto talking to Alicent. It's like this continual.
How do you know everybody's name?
Because there's only 5 people in this show.
It seems like it's so many.
It does, because they just keep changing up who's talking to who, but it's really the same 5 people.
Right.
But yeah, all right. If we're done, we're done. If you guys don't have anything else that you want.
I definitely don't.
Right. It's actually crazy because if I show you guys how short these notes are compared to the average, there was nothing extra to write about.
Yeah.
So you do take notes?
Oh, I do, personally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that we can wrap it up here then. I don't know if I'm looking forward to next episode, but we'll be here to watch anyways. Boy, fantasy just isn't catching a break this week, huh?
No, not at all. It's a real type of week, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Can't always be great, I guess, right? But thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate all of you out there. We hope that you're having a wonderful evening, or whenever you're watching this. Please feel free to leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Did you like it? Are we crazy? Are we being the old ones? Are we out of touch? Or is it the kids that are out of touch? I think it might be the kids. But let us know in the comments, and please consider giving us a thumbs up and a subscription to our YouTube page. We are also on Rumble now, so you can go check that out at Screen Time Continuum on YouTube, on Rumble. Go check us out. A thumbs up and a subscription would be very, very helpful. We're trying to grow our audience, and we can't do it without your help. So thank you so much, you guys. If you want to check out the podcast network that we do, we have Thinkering Talks on Facebook, and each day of the week we have a podcast. So starting on Tuesdays is Keelan with If Numbers Could Talk. He's on Friday or Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Go check him out. If Numbers Could Talk on Facebook, on YouTube, on Spotify. Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. Go to check out Dijon the Mustard at Strawberries and Coffee on Twitch and on YouTube. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10:30 p.m. Wednesdays and Sundays is Screen Time Continuum, as you guys know, with an additional episode probably in the middle of those, because we have to cover Amazon's Rings of Power, and it has the audacity of not premiering on a day that we stream. I don't get it. I mean, Amazon, get your stuff together.
You know they watch us.
I know, right? Come on, man. When we got to film an extra episode. But anyways, that's Wednesdays and Sundays for you, Screen Time Continuum. Then we got Fridays is Exofathom, 8 p.m. You could go check that on Facebook, on YouTube, Rumble, and some other places at Exofathom. Saturday mornings, noon-ish, go check out This Married Moment with Bobby and Keelan. They have a Facebook page, a YouTube page, and a Spotify page you can go check out every Saturday around noon. This Married Moment. Go check them out. Thanks so much, you guys. We really appreciate all of you out there. Again, We really appreciate all the viewers, all the comments that you guys give. We listen, we recognize all of you out there, and we just really appreciate you. So thank you so much. And for Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
And I am Keelan.
And I'm Mike.
He didn't
Good
know
night.
he had to say it. Good night, guys. Oh,
Take care.
we didn't give a shout out to Sheba Wheeler for that comment.
Oh, yes. Thank you
No
to... Sorry, let me grab that really quick.
Would that be Sheba or Shaba?
Sheba Wheeler. Sheba Wheeler, thank you so much for tuning in with us and for your comment. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Keelan, for reminding me, because yes,
indeed.
gotta
Absolutely.
give a shout out. All the people who participate, we really appreciate you out there. Thank you. And again, Screen Time Continuum, I'm Nick.
I am Keelan.
I'm Mike.
Good night, guys.
Take care.